Now, where does one start? I tell you, witchcraft is real. Kama huyu hajarogwa, then there is no witchcraft. This fellow amerogwa kabisa kabisa. There is no other explanation that I or anybody else can have for this particular case. Okay, that is my estimate. The truth can only be known after a long session by the NIS, and of course, 1 hour after I had signed off. I repeat, I can never have access to it, meaning that 1 hour after I left the NIS, there is no way NIS can ever disclose, or not even disclose, they can give me access to their files. They can, and they have in the past, shared information with me, which mostly is me telling them, other than them si unajua tu hii kazi, we discuss, how do you see this and that. In over 90%, it is that they are gaining intelligence from me, being a civilian who is trained in intelligence. So I cannot have access to what the intelligence has and will have. So ikiwa sio uchawi, then I think the NIS should have a long session with this young man, and then from whatever they conclude is what can be said. We have intelligence officers who left honorary, and they are senior officers. There are two things here. You left honorary, and two, you are a very senior person. For example, all former directors of intelligence who are still alive, they are briefed on the need to know basis. What I mean is, a former director of intelligence may not get as much intelligence as, let's say, a county intelligence officer, but he is usually properly briefed. The qualifications are two. One, you have to leave honorary, and the other one, you have to be very, very senior. I left after shouting that Kibaki can make Kenya a better Kenya a better country. He's a better president than Moi. I have a letter which says that I should have been reinstated. So I think that one does not. I was a senior officer, but not that senior to reach that. And the way I left, even if I were to be reinstated, I'm very sure I would have been reinstated into the general duty. So what I'm trying to say is that I have no access to intelligence. But I would say that this young man, and after having a long session with the intelligence officers, they would be in a good position to assess him. I will now turn to Kanja. I know you love to arrest young boys and charge them with the Anti-Terrorism Act. I know that thing is in your blood. Maybe your GSU background. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. I know you love charging boys with Anti-Terrorist Act. Here, you have it. You don't have to go and looking for okay, innocent boys to arrest for anti-terrorist. You have already somebody here, so don't waste time there. You already have whatever you need. Arrest search and I know there can be hundreds of them. If you coordinate very well with Haji, if you coordinate very well with Haji, I know you'll, if you coordinate very well with Haji, I know you'll get hundreds of them. Wachana kuita demonstrators eti terrorists. Huyu na wengine should be charged as terrorists. Huyu na wengine should be charged as terrorists. Talking to you from one inspector to another inspector, listen to me. On one hand, there is an inspector who is an emeritus versus an inspector who is not just active, but an inspector who is a general. So we can have a talk. In any crime, there are two elements. There is the guilty act and the guilty mind. But when it comes to jinsi, I would add a third one, which is not there in law, a stupid mind. Maybe some people say I use strong languages, but just like the law says that you can use a firearm when it is the least available weapon. You find yourself in a situation where you cannot use your words, you cannot use the clubs. The only weapon that is there is the firearm. The same applies to me. Some of my languages are strong because they are the only words remaining. You may try to use polite words, you may try to dodge around words, use alternative words, but you find jinsi, there are some things that they talk and you just wonder. And you even say that calling them the harsh words that I use is just a minimum. If there were harsh words, I would have used. You see, before I continue with the issue of SHEDRACK Omondi, I had to tell you this. Somebody was talking somewhere, I can't recall where. He was saying that, there was a funeral to the father to the MCA for Aidaka in Dagoretti South. And somebody talked and during the funeral of a former senior chief. And he said that youths should not think that they are the first people to be the youths. Youths started a long time ago. But the problem with the Gen Z is that when you want to address them, they are no different from Ruto. They are no different from Ruto. When you want to address them, you go and meet them first. They prepare a speech for you on what to present to them. Then you present the speech to them, what they have prepared for you. That is what happened in Waithaka. Somebody tried to tell the mourners that youth activism started a long time ago. And the youth shouted and booed him until he stopped talking. But if I have to repeat what he was saying, is that there was a generational difference in the 20s he gave. And also he came and said there was a generational difference in the 60s. If you look at the 60s, we had the Jomo Kenyatta and Kina Jaramogis, but we had the young men under them. If you look at the Kina Njoroge Mungai, if you look at like Kina Tomboya, and so on and so forth. He left that. He went on and said, even we, because he's my age mate, said even us, we had the youth in 1992. And you see the Gen Z today, the Gen Z today think that they are very, very good in initiating things. You say, wachana nyinyi wakati yenyu wakati wenyu. Is there anything that the Gen Z has come up which is original? Nothing. Let me talk about my generation. There is a language that is there even today called Sheng. We created Sheng because we found that it was hard for us to interact with Wazee. And we saw that we should not argue with them. So we came up with Sheng because my father's age mates, my father was good in English. He studied in Uganda. But his age mates did not understand English. So we came up with a language that was a mixture of Swahili and English so that we confuse our parents. We wanted to say what we wanted to say without confronting our parents. Gen Z are telling us to keep quiet because we don't know anything. But they are singing, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. That is us. You replace, we used to shout, Moi must go, Moi must. You have just replaced the word Moi with Ruto. What's more, are we not the ones who are singing, Yote yawezekana bila Moi? So you have poorly copied us and you're trying to, how can you, even inventors, you start a machine, like the people who have computers, they cannot blame typewriters because you copied from typewriters. So that is what somebody was trying to talk in the funeral of the MCA for Waithaka in Dagoretti, where he was saying that even some of this intergenerational thing was there, and it will be there. When you reach our age, you'll also find yourself having problems with the youth of that time. If Kina Tomboya, who is my father's age mate, were having issues with the Kina Jomo Kenyatta, but Tomboya's age knew how to handle things. We knew how to handle things, but Gen Z do not have. That is the only difference. So back to the story. The boys demonstrating do pick. The boys who demonstrate, the Gen Z who demonstrate, do pick fallen cartridge. Almost all the blank bullets that they pick and of which they show. Usually they show people on the social media and on the main media say, look here, the police are using police are using live bullets on demonstrators. Look here. Uh, of course, they cannot differentiate the two. They cannot differentiate between I used blank bullet and I used live bullet. I want to say here that the police use live bullets on demonstrations in two ways. There is no way you can fire a tear gas on your rifle without using a live bullet. So the bullet that is used on a tear gas that is mounted on a rifle, that bullet must be alive. And if the cartridge falls away, you say that the police are using on people. That is one. Two, any police officer who is completing today his or her training in Kiganjo is taught that you go to a demonstration place with live bullets. The other thing that they are taught when to use. It is very dangerous for a police officer to go to a demonstration place where we have ex-police officers like me who have mingled with people and we know that they have blank bullets. What would stop me from snatching that gun and on my own looking for real bullets? So there's no way you can move around with a real gun and you don't have one or two live bullet. Ati unatangazia kila mtu, hey, today I'm not walking around with live bullets. You'll have a former police officer like me. You will have an Al-Shabaab. You'll have anybody aiming for that gun. And again, when things get out of hand, a recruit in Kiganjo is taught when to use live bullet. One time, when Major General Ali Hussein was the police head, and a journalist asked him why police were using live bullets. Major General Hussein Ali turned to the journalist and told him, if I went to my armory here and placed two bullets here, a live bullet and a blank bullet, will you know will you identify and know which is live and which is blank? So most of us see that the police are using live bullets, and we are picking those cartridges and showing. I would advise the youths, once you pick those cartridges, please take them to the nation house, or even city royal media, or even to the church. Because if you take it to the police, there is a chance, even if it is 1 in a million, that things may not work out well. Just pick that, take it to the nearest church, take it to the nearest media house, or such places. Don't start showing off. Don't place them at your home. Because not only just the police, just like this case we are talking about today, it is quite possible that you having clothes that resemble the security, you may want it for purpose of whatever. Of course, it is an offense. Of course, it is an offense. But you may have it for the purpose, maybe you love the job or something like that. It is quite possible. But don't you think that a crook can come and take it and do ukora naye? And then when the police are investigating, they'll want to know fundi gani alitengeneza hiyo nguo na ni nani alilipa. So you'll be picked up for having told a fundi, you and the fundi, for having made that. Would you like that? So that is why I would suggest that in a demonstration, once you come across such bullets, kindly, even after showing the journalist and whatever, hand it to the journalist so that they hand it over to the police, or hand it to the church so that the church hands it to the police. It is unfortunate that police, after arresting those young boys with a used, leave alone used, even that the unused blank bullet, they arrest them and charge them with a terrorist act. A demonstrating boy who picks a blank bullet is treated on the same level as the girl from MKIZI who is called Violet Kemunto Omoyo. Violet Kemunto Omoyo, the last time I checked, she was on the run. They are looking for her for terrorism because she's heavy in matters of Al-Shabaab. Now, treating a boy with that level, it's counterproductive. One can talk a lot, but I'll try to remember as much as possible. This topic, if you have to cover it up, you are supposed to cover even 20 times what I'm covering. So if you find me summarizing, I'm summarizing because a long story, even if it is sweet, it becomes boring. The law was made for man, and man was not made for law. It is the dog that wags its tail, but it is not the tail that wags the dog, isn't it? So what I mean is that the laws of any country, Kenya included, makes law to maintain peace. You cannot use the terrorist act on a boy who left his slum, picked up a used blank bullet on the same level as Kemunto, who was not only indoctrinated, but she indoctrinated other youths. You cannot, in all fairness, hebu soma hapa chukua hii we mzee, tangu uache kazi, unajua sheria zilibadilishwa, sijui nini nini. Usianze kutumia ile penal code mlikuwa mnatumia wakati ile ingine. Hebu chukua hii kitabu, hebu soma hapa. What does it say? Somebody being found with the bullets, sijui nini nini. Surely a boy leaving his slum, going to demonstrate. As he's demonstrating, he picks up a bullet, a cartridge. Even to his own knowledge, he cannot, just like Hussein told a journalist, can you, if I were to give you 2 bullets, one live bullet and another one blank, would you differentiate them? Now, this is a young boy from the slums. He has never, this is the first time he's coming across a bullet. He picks it on the ground. And whether it is immaterial whether it is a live bullet, which was, as I've said, the live bullet may have been used. The live bullet may have been used to activate it may have been used to activate the tear gas at the muzzle of the gun. It would have been used on a demonstrator. Let me tell you, Jinsi are demonstrating, and you see somebody with a 42-inch flat screen, smart screen, flat screen, coming out of a supermarket, even without the inspector telling you, if you shoot that person to kill, he has looted a supermarket. He's not a demonstrator, or he joined the demonstrator so as to enter into a supermarket and steal a 42 flat screen smart easy TVs using it. Right? Don't you think that the police need live bullet on that? Don't you think the police also would need live bullets on a person like me, who would use that opportunity to try and snatch the rifle from that person? Now, this young man has picked a bullet, which he does not even know whether it is a live bullet or a blank bullet or even a rubber bullet. You want to charge him on the same level. And when we complain, say, hapana mzee, unajua wakati ulikuwa polisi, angalia hakukuwa na anti-terrorism, maybe some up, anybody found with the bullets, you nini. What is your definition of bullet? Definition of bullet means a bullet either used or not used. Unaona sasa tumempata na nini, sasa lazima tumchaji na akienda kotini. Remember, I'll repeat it again. This is a young boy who left his slum, and as he was walking, suddenly he looked down and saw a blank cartridge. A used cartridge. You want to charge him like the Kenyans who attacked Dusit. You want to charge him the way you will charge the Kenyans who are in Westgate. You want to charge him the way you will charge Garissa University. My friend, you need to go to Mathare. You need to book yourself to Mathare. The reason why our courts allow for a person presentation before a magistrate or a judge is for that judicial officer. You may see, you may have noticed, now this is to those people who don't go to court. You may notice that when you are in a court, there are times when the magistrate looks at you, looks at the other side, looks up in the sky, looks down, writes things and whatever. He or she is talking to his or her God. People are not taken to court on evidence alone. There are those times when you go to court, the magistrate or the judge will look at you and say, and come to realize that the way you are talking, you are not as indoctrinated as Kemunto. This is just somebody who came out of Kangemi and picked up or this is somebody who organized the Dusit too. This is somebody who organized what do you call American Embassy. So police don't be conveyor belt Unaona kwa factory ile sijui unakuta watu wamepanga laini packet inafika pale fulani inafanywa kitu kimoja, inaenda ingine, inaenda. When you are investigating, also try to read into this person's mind. Remember, you are the first person on contact and you are the most important person, because at the arresting time, if you decide not to arrest, that thing will not go. The judge will have a day off, the prosecutor will have a day off, the investigation also will have a day off. So try to ask yourself, why should I? It's just like charging a petty thief. You charge a petty thief with the offense of robbery with violence. The other thing that Mr. Kanja should know is that on one hand, police work should be very, very easy if the police and the people around are on good working terms. On the other hand, Kanja should know police work would be very hard if they are not on good terms with the civilians around. Let me say here the truth. When the police and civilians don't agree, they both lose. Let me tell you the truth. When police are in bad relationship with the civilians, police lose. When police and civilians are on bad relationship, civilians lose. So both the police and civilian, let me tell you, there is no plan B. You just must be agreeable to each other for your mutual benefit. Both of you will lose a lot if you don't agree, and both of you will gain a lot if you are on good terms. But you see, if you are on bad terms, majambazi will laugh all the way to the bank. Not just the bank, not even the central bank, but to the World Bank. Now Okindo needs to be in committee maximum, something like last week. First and foremost, both the NIS and the DCI have failed. The DCI section that is called CRIB. CRIB, as I've always said, I am a founder member of CRIB. We used to have people in the provinces. We used to have people in the provinces, from 6 inspectors in the provinces, who used to cover criminal intelligence. And we used to say that the best way that the criminal uh, intelligence can be carried out, it was better to be placed in the CID. And me, I was in charge of Rift Valley. The inspector who was in charge of Nyanza province was called Moses Mutali Lubisia. Moses Mutali Lubisia was transferred to the CID, and he is the one who founded CRIB. You know, it has changed names and whatever, but right now it's called Crime Research and Intelligence Bureau. They are supposed to research in crimes. They are supposed to have, it is a bureau that is supposed to investigate, not investigate, but collect intelligence. There is a difference between investigating and collecting intelligence. They should collect intelligence on crime. They should have a research on crime. Now, if CRIB is something that is supposed to be researching on intelligence on crime, and we have people like Okindo having so many military-like uniform in their houses, because if Okindo would not have gone to social media, right now we still would have had that. The work of CRIB, crime research and intelligence, not investigation. I repeat, there are two words here, investigation and intelligence. They are two different things. That is why the CID or DCI is called intelligence. The I is intelligence. Directorate of Criminal Intelligence, investigation. I will repeat. That is why CID and DCI are called investigation. Criminal Investigations Department, Criminal Investigation Department, and Directorate of Criminal Investigation. But NIS is Intelligence Services. So CRIB within the DCI, it is a bureau. It's a bureau to investigate, not to investigate. It is a bureau to gather intelligence and research on crimes. It is a bureau that gathers intelligence and researches on crime. Now, for somebody to stay in a slum, not a fortified place, but in a slum, with the military fatigue, That is a failure to both. There is no one I can say that we blame this one more than no. Both the NIS and the DCI are to blame. They failed. They should have smoked him out even before the FBI was formed. Their failure, according to me, are two among many. The first one, the day you will be controlled by your bosses within the hierarchy and the law, you will see miracles. What I mean is, the security, the National Police Service, plus the NIS, the day you will be given instructions by your bosses and the law, you will see miracles. Whom do I say by your bosses? I'm saying if it is the police, the OCS gets instructions from the OCPD. The OCPD gets instruction from the county police commander. County police commander gets instructions from regional and so on and so forth. Sub-county SCIO gets instruction from CCIO. CCIO gets it from regional CIO. And the regional CIO gets it from the director of criminal investigations. On one hand, you get instructions from your chain of command, and on the other, you get it from the law. But once you get political instructions, and that is what is happening. That is what is happening. Police are getting instructions from politicians. The politicians are saying, and you see, this is where we are having a problem. The police see demonstration being done by pro-government people. So they think if they go to disturb that, they'll annoy the political leaders. But when they see people who are demonstrating against the government, that is, if you get instructions from your chain of command and you get your instructions from the law, your work will be very easy. I am imagining that the situation that Kanja and his group are in is like when you are taking tea and then you put there, how many spoons do you put there? You koroga your tea, and as you take it, you discover that the tea, you have just added salt to the tea. What do? You pour the tea in the sink and prepare another cup of tea. Mr. Kanja, what you are doing, you are taking tea with salt. Pour it, get another cup, start taking tea with sugar. And the sugar is what? The sugar is the law and the hierarchy. And the hierarchy stops at the Inspector General. All instructions have got to come from the Inspector General, and all instructions that the Inspector General is giving has to go to have a foundation in law. Here too, you'll see magic. You'll come back and say, mzee, kumbe walifanya vibaya kukufuta. And when your bosses up the hierarchy gives you order, if you have a cause to believe that it is beyond the law, it is beyond the law, as taught in Kiganjo, kindly ignore. Because even before I was born, there was something in the police which was said, disobeying a lawful command. Disobeying a lawful command. All police recruits are taught they must abide to a lawful command. But if the command is not lawful, that is why I say, if you have a cause to believe that it is beyond the law, as taught in Kiganjo, kindly ignore. Forget about Murkomen telling you that he will defend you. Didn't he claim to have been misquoted? Actually, the words that Murkomen used were, I was taken out of context. I was quoted out of context or something like that. Remember, you have spent 2 weeks in cells. And I can tell you, 2 hours in cells is more than 2 months out there. Now, why did SHEDRACK Omondi Okindо possess military-like uniform? That is the work for NIS and CRIB to find out why did he have it. Yes, in my view, he is a harmless insect. But possessing military-like uniform, even if you did not join the so-called FBI, is bad. Even it is also good for your own safety. I remember we were discussing this thing when I was still in service, and I want to share it with you. We were sharing it. One time, I wrote an intelligence report and mentioned some security companies which were putting on uniform which was similar to government uniform. My boss told me, don't you know that the owner of that security company is a personal friend of Moi? If you were there during Moi's time, that is the end of the story, isn't it? But that was not the end of the story. The very same company that I had complained verbally, the same company that I had complained by writing an IR, an intelligence report, faced a problem. Yes, the head of the company was a personal friend of the then president. Today, I can be the personal friend of Ruto. People say that nimelipwa na Ruto. Akitoa sitakata. Akitoa sitakata. He has not even promised. And you know when he promises, just go and do window shopping, but don't book anything because he may even forget. But I'm saying that there are those people who are close to the president. And those people who are close to the president have certain privileges. They can say or do anything. You may even not be close to the president, but you see polisi wanakuogopa, wanasema nikimshika huyu ni rafiki ya Ruto or the then president who is there. So this company was putting on uniform similar to the police uniform. But the owner was very close to Moi. So I said, why should it be that way? Don't you see the law? They said, hey. So we just left. And the good thing about NIS, they don't destroy reports. The only time I saw reports being destroyed was to do with James Mukuria. You remember the Golden Bag case? Yeah. There was a successful attempt. Hiyo ni kizungu. There was a successful attempt that some reports which had to do with the Golden Bag intelligence report were destroyed, and an attempt was made to assassinate James Mukuria so that the story dies that way. But generally, NIS do not destroy reports, they keep reports. So when I said so, my report was still there. And my report was still there. Do you know what, to cut the long story short, do you know what happened? There's a time when when the armed robbers went to steal a bank, and that bank was being guarded by that same security company. You know, in the nick of time, as they were rushing and doing everything and whatever, a watchman from that company appeared. And in that millisecond, in that fraction of the second, when the robbers had no time to think, they thought that it is a police officer who has come, and they shot him dead. So that is what I would tell people like SHEDRACK Omondi Okindо and others, that the life, just like a driver is told, drive carefully. The life you are saving may be your own life. I would also tell such people, don't keep all those things, because that watchman died because the robbers saw the uniform, and in that nick of time thought that it was a government security officer responding to the alarm, and they shot him dead. Supposing that security company would have changed their uniform, he may still be alive today. We have people, yes, we have people with uniform similar to the police. We have people who have real guns and also imitative guns. That one we know. We see it on TV. We see Inspector Mwala. We have licensed firearm owners. We have, those are so many cases. If you have such things, even school. I remember when I was in Form 6, 1981, I remember we had a play. We had a play at Bungoma High School. The school is also called Bungoma Boys. We had a play which had to do with the police. And Bungoma Police Station supplied us with police uniform. Anybody who was in Bungoma 1981 will tell you that Bungoma Boys, during the drama festival, we had a play and we put on a real police uniform. So when you want to act a movie where you want to have imitative or even real police uniform, it is good for the OCPD to be involved. It is good for the OCPD to be involved. Just say that we are having Parents' Day and we want our students to dress like police. He will even supply you with the uniform for the duration of the play. What am I saying? There are two things I'm saying. The police will not only know that you are putting on uniform, but the police will make sure that those uniforms are safe. Because as you are on the dais acting as a police station or anything, mkora ameshikwa amepelekwa police or anything, the police are around there. So that immediately you complete your play, you do that. This is what I'm trying to say, that the usage of real or imitative uniform and guns involve the OCPD. Involve the OCPD and leave everything to him. He will allow you to use real uniform or even have imitative uniform. That is one. Two, he will make sure or she will make sure that those uniforms don't fall into the wrong hands. And if another police officer finds you with such things, the OCPD will always come up and say, I am aware that such and such a school are ABCD. Hiyo ndio tunasema atakukava. Then comes the TikTok. I have watched him several times in his hit TikTok. He appears to read from somewhere and he appears to be giggling. You see, it is rare for men to giggle. By the way, this is the second person, this is the second man I've seen giggling. The first one was Nyaseda. Those who know Nyaseda, the former police inspector general, he used to giggle. So the boy appears to read from somewhere and he appears to be giggling. Anybody giggling, my little understanding is that that person is not serious. Then somebody comes and says, "Wait, you nini or whatever." Such a person, to me, is the dangerous person. But a person who giggles should not be taken seriously. The issues should be treated just like walking into a police station with a toy gun. You know, you can go to a police station with a toy gun, and by the time it will be known as a toy gun, you would be headed to a funeral home. We used to call them mortuaries. You would be headed to a mortuary. Lastly, I want to tell you that the boy's name is SHEDRACK. SHEDRACK, not SHEDRACK. SHEDRACK and not SHEDRACK. There is this Inspector General Kiruki. He was the deputy commandant Kiganjo when I was attending the inspector's course. Funny, when I was attending inspector's course, I was taught by two inspector general. There was SHEDRACK Kiruki, there was Nyaseda. They were both there, but Kiruki was Nyaseda's boss. So we used to be told that there's a difference between the name Shadrach and Shedrack. Kiruki and this boy, their name is Shedrack with an E and not with an A. With those very many remarks, yes, I've eaten into your bundles, but to me, it is something that we are sharing and it is good. Young men there, we hope it will come out to the police and realize that demonstrators are not terrorists, but then other young men should be careful with donning such clothing. They may bring you into problems. Thank you and God bless you.